Welcome to the channel. This is Reliable Rudy. Let me get a couple things set up and then we will go into some live trading. As you guys know, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Everything in this video, in this analysis, is simply just sharing my opinion. I believe short-term trading is a big voting machine and it is very hard to do. So keep that in mind. At the end of the day, make sure that you have a strategy that you have tested, that you feel comfortable with, and always have risk reward built into your trade. Know your outs, know your risk, and go from there. It is a Fed meeting day. Yeah, so a couple new names on the title. We added PayPal and BTI. We were just looking at this CNSP just because we traded it back over here. Just kind of off the uptrend though. So going into a couple of the new names, I am watching PayPal. We've talked about PayPal on the sticky note a few times, but it's pulled into this level. It has strength, it has a decreasing volume, but only 10 minutes left on this candle. Is it going to be able to hold this area? Do we need to pull back into the gap? But another reason why I'm looking at PayPal, if this wants to build into some sort of U-shape, this is some sort of uptrend, getting closer to that positive break. Who knows? Maybe we have to pull back in near these lows again, retest these lows. But if it didn't want to, and this wanted to make some sort of attempt to this downtrend, probably not set perfectly. It even could be some sort of channel to the downside. If it pulled into 40 somehow, oh my good lord. And then BTI, so both of them are weak names. We don't have entries on either one, but BTI gapped up to the neckline, so kind of just keeping it on watch. We've tried it a couple times down here, and I'm not going to act like I'm perfect because we were trying it over here into some of these gaps. There's a gap right here. And I just like the value of this name in the low 30s. It's a high margin, a little high on debt. They're making acquisitions, and they had a $650 million fine that kind of stopped them from doing a share buyback. So it had news baked in, and it took that news away from them. And I think there's just a little bit of overreaction with it. I think these low 30s is pretty good value, in my opinion, of course. But who knows? That does not mean that just because it's good value down here doesn't mean that the price will hold down here. So keep that in mind. In terms of some trades, Carvana, we did not get any fills on Carvana this morning. It did give us that wick up above. You'll see how I had my chart set up going into the close, and it kind of just held this channel. It broke it, now it's kind of putting wicks into the top end of it. We're looking for, now that it's kind of tried breaking these previous lows, can it break and hold above that and continue holding this sort of uptrend that we've got like that? And is it some sort of ascending channel build like that? So we're just kind of on watch with Carvana. We haven't really taken any trades. The only fill that we even have on the day is on Ford. We sold some right at the open. I believe we had a 26 fill. 26 fill right at the open. And if that wants to go higher, we've respected a couple outs in here. I don't know if I'll go off 1433. That's what I was looking for. That is the gap. But I think we're going to try and hold for maybe something higher. I don't want to cut too much of the position. If it has to pull back in to like 13 flat before it makes a move, okay, so be it. I'm completely okay with that. So looking back at PayPal, that is the one setup that I think we're going to try and maybe get in. We haven't really tried too much of this. We do have a small position in PayPal. We are actually holding it from a 70. So not perfect, but it's not very much size. It's still probably considered some sort of starter position. But I do like the value of this name long term. So I'm thinking more long term with this name. And if I can get it in the 50s, you can see where I was looking for it to drop to is 55s. And if it goes even lower than that, we have that baked into the plan that we're going to be following for this name. But I can't ignore that, we had this kind of marked as some sort of double bottom. It wicked towards it and it just traded sideways all the ways to it. And then now kind of giving a move off of that with increased volume, the highest volume it's really had since the earnings day. So this was probably more bad volume. Is this more bad volume coming in? Well, the candle says differently. The pullback may say different from that candle as well, as it's trying to fight 64s. You have some previous tops in here, so could hold some support at this 64. But I'm just kind of just sitting back and trying to analyze as much as I can. We did have Nikola on watch, but it was putting in a wick, now putting in another wick. Uh, does it give up this one, and can it reclaim one? I don't know. This GCT kind of gave it up a little bit. We had some sort of channel marked right here, gapped up to it, pushed. Now trying to hold the top end of that. Is there something there? Maybe. This CNSP trying to catch a bid, but light volume, very light volume. And this rig, we were looking at rig as well. And I should go take a look back at AI. We exited. I seen that I respected the bottom end of the channel, and all I did was mark this flat top. So this is where we're probably going to look to reload. Is there some sort of uptrend that we can find in here? Does it trade sideways long enough and meet like right here on Thursday, June? So tomorrow. That would be tomorrow. Is it a trade tomorrow? Invax, we actually cut this. I think it was at 8:07 into the close. We're sitting here telling ourselves, man, this one could go. Well, now it's kind of giving up this trend line that we're buying. So I'm just going to get rid of that. And I think this is a better look for it. You do have nice 3 points of contact. Do you have support? I would say if I mark this neckline right there, you could say you have some support built in there. We go over to the daily, and we have moving average support as well. Is it more so like that though? Because this is the confirmed higher low. This is just kind of what's trying to hold. So is this some sort of channel to the upside? Maybe. Other than that, we've been keeping an eye on end phase. It still hasn't given us that positive break, but 170's held pretty good. Does 170's holding in if it gets there? And GSIT. GSIT has still kind of just been respecting this sideways consolidation channel all the ways to the trend line. Does it give another leg up? Where looking at it, you probably have some resistance built in at that 829. You definitely have some resistance built in at 9. This runs all the ways over through all that. And then the all-time highs on the name is like a 10. So I mean, if this gave another leg up, this could be one that gaps and gives you a further move to the upside. So we're just kind of sitting on our hands with GSIT. A little bit of volume coming in. You can see the trend line hold. We've adjusted this one a couple times, so is this a perfectly set trend line? I don't know. I'd say you probably got to go to the hour chart to see a better look of it, and you can see more so how it's been playing out. Still holding positive strength. Gave up the ghost a couple times in here, but you can see sort of the wedge pattern that we're trying to draw out, trying to follow there. This, I think I just need a little bit more info on this. Red engulfing, I don't know, is this going to be some sort of descending channel? I'm not sure. Baba, very strong, so maybe a Chinese ADR could be something. What do you think about Carvana? I was looking at Carvana. I think I'm kind of just holding my entry. This is kind of how I had it set earlier. So kind of trading at the trend line. That's what held this morning. Does it hold again? I would say it's trying to build some sort of flat top here at these previous lows. Call it a 24. So 24, I would say, is probably more in line level. We'll just try and mark that close enough. Um, but I mean, it's tough to say. It's tough to say. It's ran pretty good. This is the trend line that's been golden. Does it have some sort of uptrend that needs to build right here? You have 1, 2, 3, couple points of contact. Does it follow this descending channel? No, it broke it, but now we're trading right back inside of it, red engulfing to the downside. I'm just kind of holding the entry that I got with Carvana. And we're trying to find something else. If we can find something else, I want to try and get the entry a little earlier in the day. I was looking at this GCT. I don't like the increased red volume though. I don't know. It's tough to say. I am trying to look for something though. PayPal was one that we were looking at, and 64s did hold. BABA is very strong, increasing green volume. We're in the fourth candle of the day and still turning green. Just took out 90s. Oh, you look over at the daily chart, and I would say I've adjusted this trend line a couple times. Is it set perfectly? No, but it is getting very close to flirting with these highs over here. You got a gap fill at 95s. You have previous lows at 93. Pretty strong. So maybe a Chinese ADR, maybe even just an index like the FXI, kind of following that same look where you have a downtrend, kind of breaking through the downtrend. Maybe GME, a dip buy. First red candle, so if this is the increasing volume, it is wicking into some levels. Let's go take a look at GMEs. But just clearing the chart, dipped negative briefly, pulled back. Does it have the weakness to pull back to 24, 25 gap? I don't know, but you have some levels that say this is a flat top that you wicked into yesterday, around 25 flat. Let's go look at the 15. Still trying to hold positive strength, but I would say that you probably have some sort of descending channel, potentially, whether that's set perfectly or not. And this is the uptrend we've kind of been waiting for right here. This is what we marked yesterday. Potential? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know, I'm just kind of just sitting back for right now. I've seen a lot of names in the red. This Soundhound giving up the trend line. Seeing some here and there, just a little more weakness today in Carvana. We're trying to look for something. We are trying. This GCT holding above this kind of channel that it had. Whether this channel was set perfectly or not, it is trying to hold that channel. So not giving up on that one yet. This one trading down to a level. We'll see if that has anything lunar. Alright, volume. This wet G. That's why I like waiting for as much information as I can get. CNSP, wow, this one, not much volume though, so I mean nothing worth it there yet. Rig, this is what we were kind of talking about. Can it fill this gap? How do we trade from there? Testing the flat top, tries to hold, gaps down. Now we're pushing through that temporarily. Has a decent uptrend. taking out a level, trying to reclaim positive on a trend line hold. I would say you probably have some sort of wedge pattern, long term, kind of a downtrend right there. I'd say your longer term uptrend is definitely right here with a 9 or a 490 gap. Does it have to retest that flat top right there? So this could be a descending channel when that breaks. GCT Invex, we were keeping an eye on that, but we kept it at a green trade. We're not giving up on that trend line that it has, though. You know, we do have a trend line, a couple trend lines to fall to. It's a wick towards it. How does 780 act? Let's just put an alert on 780. And GSIT, looks like it's giving up this first trend line, but I think the better picture is probably this channel that's in. Can this hold? That is what's going to decide whether we take that trade. And yeah, other than that, I mean, I don't really have much for you at the moment. Nikola, we were watching, did hold the level. Does it just trade sideways? Can it hold sideways? Bob putting in the first red candle, a little bit of wick of buying, 9 minutes left, a lot of volume coming in at this level. Is it going to be able to fight through that? Fubo, continued strength. CVNA is trying to hold some levels. Trying. We'll keep GME on watch. Intel is through 34. Is kind of what we talked about. We didn't want to cut too much. But very nice green candle coming in. Now truly getting over top of those highs. So looking to the left of the chart, you know, you do have a gap right there. You do have a gap right there. That is going to be kind of meeting in top end of the channel. So that's what we're going to be looking for there. Ford is filling the gap. It looks like it probably already filled it. High of the day, 1433 high of the day. The gap is at 1432. So my gap was actually off a little bit. Looking at the 15-minute. Leaving a wick into it for now. We trimmed some at the open, trying to claim it. Yeah, looking at Nikola. Yeah, I was looking at Nikola. It's right around a 1 flat level, so kind of built-in support and resistance. Gapped up, filled the gap, set the nice green candle, fresh positive break on increased volume, gaps up, tries to trade down. GCT gave up the ghost, so probably going to be on watch at another time. Going to give you the descending channel look right off the rip. Not a good sign. So that's too bad. We wanted to see that hold up. Baba came way back in. Can it hold the top end of this downtrend? A lot of red volume came in right there, so Ford is putting that wick into that gap, so you know, temporary high a day right there. You heard it first. Temporary high a day. If it cannot take that wick, the gap fill buyers are sellers or shorters are going to be saying to themselves, hey, that gap, it was respected. Does Ford need to pull back in? You know, you have some gaps on the way up. Does it need to pull back in to like 1378, 1350? We have a flat top that it broke at 13 flat, maybe. Not counting it out. Neo kind of gave up that 9. It gapped up, filled the gap on the money. Let's take a look at this one. Oh, didn't quite fill the gap right there. We could have something. COHR, big move. COHR. Taking out kind of a neckline. Alerts at 47.50 probably would have been reasonable. You can see the opening candle right through that. That's your volume increase. Right through the neckline. Possibly something there. Possibly. It's a good find. I'll add that one to the watch list. Coherent Corp. Are they profitable? What can we find out about this company? Write-offs kept them unprofitable. Write-offs unprofitable. Write-offs unprofitable. And profitability. So that's on, you know, consistently profitable. Let's actually go pull up some analysis on this company. So COHR. So this is what I'm going to do real quick. One, technology, laser-based solutions, range, commercial, industry, industrial, laser tools, laser measurement, product control, a lot of employees, consistent growth on revenue, starting to slow down a little bit. Net margins not as good as 21, but still profitable. Revenue growth kind of gave up a little bit, but you know, the last 2 quarters are still very, very good growth. That is pretty impressive, actually. Share count, a lot of dilution. So when looking at share dilution is a big no-no for me. But that doesn't mean that they can't continue growing. The gross margins, I'd like to see a little bit higher for a company that's struggling to hold net profitability. But cash flow margin, you can see their operating margin 5% consistently positive. So they're going to be cash flow positive here. So they're bringing in free cash flow. I'm sure there was some. This is a quarterly, so I do like the decreased share compensation, but they do have quite a bit of share compensation. So that's what's adding into that share dilution, is that share compensation is going to the company, the employees, or whatever, insiders, whatever the case may be. And then I want to get a feel for debt. So a quick way to look at that current ratio. I want to make sure their free cash flow can cover their debt. So just looking down, long-term liabilities, long-term debt, about $4 billion. Long-term total long-term liabilities, so 5.5 billion. So looking at the free cash flow, this is still, I would still put in the realm of speculation, because the free cash flow that they're putting up right now is going to take them quite some time. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't grow. They have quite a bit of growth. But all in all, a lot of long-term liabilities and not as much free cash flow to show for it. And not the greatest margins. Gross margins only 31%. So when I'm looking at a swing trade, especially when it's up here, yes, it has a lot of growth, but when I'm looking at a company like this, I'd be looking for trying to find long-term entries for either a swing trade or a hold for as long as I can for bigger moves. How much of this move is left? You know, from a chart perspective, it looks really strong. You have a lot of strength. You have the increased volume. If it pulled back into like this gap or like these tops over here, that would be really good. But in terms of the business itself, um, uh, yeah, I hope that kind of gives an idea of what I'm looking for. I would have felt a lot better if there wasn't that large share or the share dilution. That's a big no-no for me. That doesn't mean that there's not money to be made. That's just what I'm focused on when I'm looking at something. But I do want to go take a look at PayPal, see if that. So 64 gave up, and this is what I want to see, honestly. As crazy as it sounds, I want to see this price tank. I want to see this tank. So when I'm looking at a value company, so if we did the same exact thing, right, that I just did with this. So if I'm looking at PayPal, I'm just going to do the same exact analysis. One, what do they do? Payment solutions, digital. They own Venmo. They have a lot of different platforms that they own. Uh, International as well. 200 different markets, 100 different currencies. Bank accounts with 56 different currencies. So bigger moat, consistent growth, but the margins. This is what is part of the reason why I think it's down is decreasing margins. And if you look back at Meta when they were increasing their capex, uh, those decreasing margins, played a lot into that short-term trading. This is what I talk about when short-term trading can be very, very difficult to do. But focusing on fundamentally sound companies. So you can see the decreased growth, but all in all, as you get bigger, it's harder to grow. Does this, looking back to 2014 of 8 billion to 27 billion, that is a lot of growth. Uh, Now the share count, consistently buying back shares, a little bit of dilution in there year over year, but looking over to the quarterly, share count, buying back shares, increasing my ownership. I did just get an alert on Invax, nothing too important there. Gross margins consistently about around that 40%, operating margins, profit margins, not the greatest margins when looking at financials. This is that decreasing margins a little bit right there that I was talking about. In the financial sector, if you consider this financial sector, they have a lot better margins than 40%. So that is being docked a little bit. But looking at the total long-term liabilities, 13 billion. We go over to the cash flow. How long is it going to take them? So uh, a billion in free cash flow. So about 13 years. I should look at the annual, not the quarterly. So free cash flow 5 billion. So that covers their long-term liabilities in 3 years. So that's just a little bit of the different scenario that we're looking at. Return on equity, return on capital, they invest their money fairly well. So that also adds to that moat, that adds to the EPS build that they can possibly have. They invest their money very well. So it checks off a lot of the boxes in terms of there's not too much debt, large moat, they're still growing, buying back shares. And I think it's a decent value play that you can focus on. So that's why I really want to see it get hammered down. If I could pick this up down here at this like 45 top shelf, you have a catalyst for maybe a descending channel. You have a little shelf that it could hold here at 55s, and that's what I want to see. If I have to buy it at a higher price than I want to, okay, so be it. And that's why if this was really looking at the 15-minute chart, if this started catching a bid and we got back over like 64.50, is there some sort of descending channel build right here that can send it down? We trade sideways and I can take the trade like right over here. So a little bit increased red volume and more so on the daily chart. I'm just looking to take a positive break on strength with this name. I should try and find a trade to get into, of course. Light, man, taking out the highs. As soon as it broke that channel, nice bull flag back test build of the trend line right there. Nice look. Let's get a fresh update on some top gainers. Oil kind of gave up the early gains of the day as expected, still hovering flat on strength in a middle ground, trying to hold this sort of uptrend. Is it in a descending channel? Do we see low 60s? I don't know. But keeping oil on watch, we're looking for a 75 break. The 75 break is probably going to be your positive break on strength. Tough to tell, of course. Just keep an eye on Nikola. This candle is green from open. A nice sideways chop. Is this going to be able to hold? Can it take out the highs? Let's just get an alert on this, just in case. Let's get like a 107 alert. If that triggers, we could maybe think about Nikolai. I like how it's just traded sideways, no large red engulfing candles. You know, you do have a little bit of a nice green candle. Uh, might need a little bit of time to kind of decide what it wants to do. Baba kind of giving that bull flag look. You have the 3 candles of increased volume right there. Uh, nice volume, 360K. That's a lot of liquidity. Let's some quick math on that. 360,000 times 89. 32 million in liquidity on that candle. That's quite a bit of liquidity. Passes the rules for a setup. Does it hold this previous top right here? If it pulled back in, that is the middle of the green candle. Some other Chinese equity names. A go-to trade is just following this channel. I cannot believe that we got the sell on this day, or this day right here. Man, it had the beautiful setup. I can't believe I just didn't hold it. That's too bad. Looking around, I mean, if you guys got anything that you think is worthy of trading, by all means, put it into the chat, and I will gladly take a look at it. But as of right now, I am not seeing anything. It might be more of a second day, wait for the Fed meeting. This still trading inside of the descending channel. Nikola kind of giving up. We could try like a 102, which is the body of the candle. You know, but if I try it there, you know, more than likely I'm gonna have to try one flat. Under one flat, this thing could give you a move to like 95. You know, you got a gap fill here. I'm sure you have some sort of uptrend right here that we could fall back into. Yeah, is the move over? Is what I want to know. And it's gonna give you kind of a decision today. I think when you're looking at the daily, you can see here's your fresh positive break on good strength. You gap up. Do we need to retrace down to the gap? And that would still be holding positive strength. So maybe. Does it need to pull back even further? Maybe. I just don't have too much of an idea of what this is going to do. We do have a 107 alert there. Let's look at some of the low gainers. Let's take a look at CXAI. Still holding inside of the downtrend right there. Could be something that's bringing it down. I don't know. We'll just leave it like that. Kazim, no, nothing worthy on Kazim right now. Trying to fight positive. All I did is this some sort of channel that's trying to build on the commodity? Maybe. Only have 2 points of contact right there. Does it mean anything? I don't know. This FVRR, we also could think about a reload. We have traded this name pretty good. We had some outs over 30 yesterday. How does it act if it can get back to this previous top right there? Maybe. I don't know, honestly speaking. I think the only one that really has the setup that we'd like is this Alibaba. Nice 3 green candles of increased volume. On a fresh positive break. Fresh positive break. Breaking the downtrend. Does it need to pull back into these previous tops like a 87 first? Maybe. I don't know. C-Jet. Trying to hold the lows. might be Nikola. We could try and start getting an entry on Nikola and just stop it under 1. If it gives up 1, I don't know. Carvana, we can go take a look back at Carvana. Yeah, it just doesn't look like, looking at the daily, does it need to pull back in to like the body of this candle, which is the bottom of the wick, gap fill buyers, does it need to hold like 21s? Just that candle doesn't look the greatest on Carvana. I still have a small piece of it. I didn't have any outs up here. You know, I thought that, hey, we had a descending channel type of look that's trying to hold on top. AMD might have something to offer. Strong name. Take a look at an oil name. Nothing there. DAL. DAL. Just continuing the churn to the upside. We are waiting. We're just holding. No need. No need in cutting any of the position. Just let's see if these travel names can stay strong and keep running to the upside. BTI kind of wicking into that neckline. Let's go see what this has. Is it going to be a descending channel? Back into the gap. Another Chinese name, kind of that same look. You got the 3 candles, 1 consolidation candle. Take a look at Zim. Zim might have something to offer. Does have the increased volume, sideways consolidation. We might have something here. If I was looking at, God, I'd want to see this gap get filled. If it was more of a clean chart, that would be a lot better of a look right there. The strength isn't there. A 1371, if it got over that. Zim does have a nice U build right here. Is this early signs of some sort of ascending channel where you wick through that? Ford was able to claim that. I'm expecting that to be strong for some more upside. Another Chinese name, 3 green candles to start the day, 1 pullback, so a lot of confluence. Here's the FXI, right at the downtrend, gaps up, hold, 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 3 green candles, 1 pullback, indecision. So I mean, if you were looking for something, I'd say maybe find a Chinese ADR. Maybe. IBM, do we need to take a piece off? It looks like it filled on the money. One of the areas. Let's go take a look at that. Previous low wicking into it. So early signs. Could we go take a piece off of that? PayPal still holding 64. Yeah, just not seeing anything that I would rather. You know, CVNA is trying to hold this. Maybe we got to go to a 30-minute chart for this. And it's still kind of below your levels. We go to an hour chart. Kind of trading right around your levels. A lot of wicks. You know, if this is some sort of retracement, you can see tough to say. Is it a retracement play that we need to pull back in? Is there a catalyst for it to pull back in? Maybe. A lot of wicks into this. Is this the start of some sort of wedge? I don't know. Carvana, I just get the entry, hold a piece of the dream. AI is going to try and take out this descending channel we have set. Lucid trying to hold the 650. Invex holding 8, but gave up 8. You can have this. Something like that, down to this trend line. CVNA just looks like it wants to kind of give the ghost. We can go take a look at GME, see what that's doing. Kind of trading in the channel. Can it get over top of those wicks? Maybe. Nikola, GCT, Wet G, CNSP, not a lot of volume. Chinese ADR. I mean, we could go take a look at Neo. Building a nice U shape. Retraced, tested the previous highs. "30-minute chart looks a lot better. Hour doesn't look half bad. Is there something there? No. Take a look at Coinbase. Fubo, strong move. That 2 break on Fubo would have been beautiful. Intel continuing the churn up. Could take a look at Disney. ATVI has a nice hold. Looking at the daily here. You do have a nice trend line. ABEV right into the downtrend today. $11 left on this candle. Does have 108K volume right here. I think Nikola might be the one. It is a late entry. Trading sideways an awfully long time. G-sit still holding. To put an alert there. Carvana trying to hold this uptrend. Not a half bad look here on NRG. Zim took out the high of the day. Nice sideways chop, built the flat top. I had a nice green move off the open though. Oracle, nice move. I can probably put that on watch for today. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say right now. I just trying to be selective and take a trade that meets my setup. I'm sure there is a lot of names out there that are going to go up in price. But for me, as of right now, I'm just kind of waiting. $16K. And we are in the third candle for this Baba Wish. Yeah, let's take a look at Wish. I do like that setup, nice green move. The only thing that I don't like is this red candle. That doesn't mean that it can't take that out. Nice uptrend hold. Trading right around the neckline. I'm sure there's some sort of breakout look right through there. Held those lows very good. Getting a positive break. Right at a neckline break. 9 flat could be a breakout. So an early entry before that could be viable. I like the setup though. Let's watch this candle. Let's see if we can get a price at like 830. See if that can pull back in. I like the setup though. That's a nice setup. I see what you're looking at. It's a pretty decent setup actually. So we got that and Nikola. Pulling back in a little bit, we could maybe think about a starter position here. 4 minutes left on this candle. 4 minutes, 30 seconds left on the candle. Alright, it's pulling back in. Let's go ahead and try this one and see if we can get any weight. Looks like there is a limit. One lot off 34s. 35s are starting to build. A lot of red volume though. That's the only part that I don't like. Only part that I don't like is the high volume. It is decreasing. I'm gonna wait for maybe one more leg down into maybe this can come down and test 25s. It might even need to retest these previous highs before anything. Potential channel right there. This candle does turn green though, making that volume green. That gives me a little bit better look. Alright, we're gonna mark it in, just start the position. Not too much size. Let's see where that fill came in at. 39s. We got 39s. Just a small position. We want to add this at like 830s. And we feel we're kind of late to the move. So we're going to be quick on our feet trimming this. We're not going to shy away from trimming like 48s and 50s. And this top is like 56s. So if this does want to work for us, let's keep nickel on watch. So we got Nicola and Wish. Nicola and Wish. I just don't like that red volume, but this is a nice bull flag look. I could be forcing it a little bit. It's possible. G-sit cross 50s. How's that for a neckline break? Minute 20 left on this candle, a little bit of increased volume, and there's the volume gonna start coming in right there. Is G-sit gonna hold a 650? Let's put another word in right there if it comes back into the downside, and we can get rid of this one. Rejecting the early channel we have set. And wish, sitting at 37, sorry, we have small size on this one right now. I don't really like the red volume, so I'm not going to try and get too much size on this. And my out is, we'll give it the 25s. So about 14 cents a risk. This doesn't really, it does have increased volume, but this is still probably early entry. Only part that I like, you know, and it might even need to pull back into like this wick top before it makes a meaningful move. But we'll try and trade it, see if we can take advantage of it. Open of the next candle. Could be early signs of some sort of descending channel like this. Take a look at BAC. Trying to retrace to the gap. Trying to hold near the lows. Decent amount of volume on that green move to the upside. Trying to hold some previous highs. I like that look right there. Look at the daily. Build the gap. Nice move from the gap. This is candle number 3. Here's 31s. We're gonna add just a little bit of size right here and see if there's any buyers that come in around this level. So added a little bit of size. Let's see where our print came in at. We got 33s. The only part I really don't like about this is that there's not really any levels. You could say maybe the neckline. I'd look at that as maybe more resistance. Looking at XLE, probably a descending channel build. Do we have to retrace down to the gap? Maybe, just maybe. Nicholas still trading sideways on this candle. And I think we should keep G-sit on watch. Yep, there's G-sit. Could have just triggered in. We have a small position, nothing crazy. But we're gonna let that one run. We think that we can see this maybe top end of the channel print. We'll keep an eye on Wish. Wicking into the level briefly. I wanted to see it trade sideways. Give me another entry somewhere. Present some sort of entry somewhere. Go to trying for continuation. And this should be candle number 4. Yep. That's what you want to see. You want to see how the red candles are getting smaller. Smaller on each red candle, pulling back into a level. You have previous highs that you're wicking into. The volume is also decreasing, and then on this candle, you just want to see a level hold, and for it to take out, you could say over top of this wick is early signs of, hey, had you got some entries in right here, maybe you're doing pretty good. Can it have the strength to get up to the body of the candles? Maybe. So Alibaba looking really good chart right there. Trying to hold a level, does it trade sideways? Does it have to build some sort of new channel? I don't know. I had no clue, guys. I do see a descending channel. G-sit, making the board, making the top board here. Wish, kind of a little bit red engulfing here. It's alright. Let's try a little bit more off of 830s. And then we're going to have our out. So let's see if 830 can fill, and we will try it. And we'll just put a stop in at 22s. That's the intraday gap up. G-sit on a tear. There we go. Show us a wick. Come back in the 750s. A lot more volume. You can see 8 minutes left in this candle. You can see this volume just jumping. Flirting with this. Could this be some sort of neckline break right here? Inside of another neckline break. G-sit looking very good. Wish should have filled 830s. We're going to put that stop in. And if that goes against us, then so be it. Stop loss will go 822. And we will probably take a small hit, as I don't like the red candle getting bigger. 8 minutes left for this to leave a wick, but we do have the fill at 830. And we have to stop in. So probably going to go against us, but we'll see. Nikola, green candles coming in. Right near that 7. Right near that 07. And we think that we can probably run this to like 15s. And that's 11s. Does have the decreased volume. Could have something there at 26 or 25. It just doesn't have a level that it's going into. That's the only part that I don't like about it. I like the setup, but just comparing the two setups, when you look at Alibaba, where this has a level that's pulling back into, and this already has your fourth candle, you have the decreasing volume. 6 minutes left. Is this early signs for the volume to start picking up? Maybe, just maybe. Could it be a descending channel? Maybe. This BNGO also. So looking at nice green volume came into the stock, a little wicky, so there's some selling pressure, but it was tried taking it out. Now here's your pullback that you're getting into a previous high. Has some levels on the daily. Fresh positive break as well. Does it have the strength to take out like 82s? Or your upside to the downtrend as well. 25%. Take a look back at Wish. Holding 830s. Kind of right near a breakout. A lot of resistance could be built in over here though. If it can get over that, it looks pretty good. I don't like that red candle. I want to see a little bit more buying come in. Take a look back at Carvana. You can see it trying to hold that uptrend. You know, if you were looking to take an entry here, I would say stops below the body of the candle could be worthy. Take a look back at GSIT. GSIT tested at 8. We could go on the ask for a few shares. I like the increased volume. If this pulled back in aggressive, man, look at that volume that's coming in the GSIT right now. It's still only 24K, but relative to what it's been doing, this is the first little increase right there. So let's go take a piece off. That is a nice green candle. Let's just go ahead and take off. That's 12.5% of the trade. And let's go ahead and do it. Almost $1 a share. Can't complain. Nikola, man, we should have tried it. Should have tried it. It wicked over that, so still could have an opportunity. 4 minutes left on this candle. Starting to show the increase of volume. Nice green engulfing candle. Take a look back at Wish. Yeah, we're probably just going to get stopped out of Wish. Could this hold? Maybe. Does the channel need to be set like this? Maybe. You know, it might even just need to test down to 814 before it does anything. So we'll get stopped out before we give it a chance to do that. And we'll take a losing trade there. Zim, first pullback candle. Does this need to pull back into? Let's put this alert like right there. Let's go into a 5-minute chart here and see if we can find anything. There's the bull flag continuation. Little increased volume and showing the wick. So now that candle's turning red. I'd say Wish, risk or reward potential. No, we'll go ahead and just try and add a little bit of size here and put that same stop in. We'll give it a chance and let's go adjust it and put that stop back in. And this BNGO. See, this is a candle that I like seeing right there. Maybe an early sign of a trend line. That is a pretty good looking trend line. Look up hood. My bad, I was look up hood. I would say the level I would be looking for is maybe these wicks right there. This is one where you could have just had an alert set over top of the wick high, takes it out. Maybe something here. I do like that. That's a nice positive break, holds the level right there off the previous highs. So you can see the price holds above that previous high. Gaps up, fills the gap, gaps up, fills the gap. Now we're taking out the highs. Probably also some sort of downtrend set in here as well. So pretty good look there. Candle number 2. Let's see if this can pull back into like 75s. We can put an alert. Nicholas still wants to set a nice looking candle. Nickel is looking pretty good. I could have pulled the trigger on it. Trying to hold the levels. Decreased volume. Is there any signs that some buying is coming in? That is a large decrease when we're coming into some levels that we'd expect some buying. So is there any buying that's coming in? It's tough to say. This came back up to like 35s. You can see the channel look right here. Get off the 5-minute. Nickel 105 might not be half bad. Wish, really light volume, really light volume. Let's go take a look back. Kind of a false break. This channel could be something. Can it even hold? Looking not as good as what it did if the price had set a close up here. So Chinese ADRs may be on watch for a breakdown. Keep an eye on hood. BTI, early signs of a break of the channel. So if this pulled back into like 3260, maybe something there. Still trading inside of that channel we have set there, and nickel just went up to 108. Yeah, we liked it. We just, yeah, sometimes that's how it works out. You just don't get the entry you're looking for, and we'll see if that goes anything. Looks like we got a low of 825. This one looks like it's probably going to just stop us out. And we'll take a loser on that one. There's 823, and there's a stop out. Probably selling near the lows. It does have good support, but clearly didn't have a good read on it, so we'll try and regroup and get the next one. Rig building a nice flat top. Light volume, nice sideways trading. You can take a look at CVNA. Look back at BNGO. A little wiki. Nickel is now at 109. Now the pullback to 106 doesn't look half bad. Look over at GME. Still trading inside the channel. G sit, nice out at 10 or 806. I like this G sit trade. I haven't looked at Invax at all. Invax reclaimed it. As it got close. Zim takes out the highs. Do we retrace back into these tops right here? Move this alert down just a little bit. Wish, you know, one thing I forgot to do was try and make that 3 candles. So that's candle number 3. So this is at 814 right there. 812 could be coming in very quick. But that top right there, the increased red volume that came in, 10 minutes left on this candle. 810 to 815 could be something there. And we possibly got stopped out. Could have easily just went to a 30-minute chart and identified that a little bit better. BNGO still wicking to that level. We're on a 30-minute chart now, holding the previous tops. Nikola taking out that top. Nice increased volume on this candle with 9 minutes left, holding a nice green candle. Wicking into it a little bit now. Okay, so do we need to pull back in? Is there some sort of trend line that we can pull back into? Maybe. I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to take this call. Just give me like a minute or two. All right, we're back. Yeah, I've really just not seeing the most out there that would really just entice me a lot. This hood does look pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. 2 consolidation candles getting ready to take out the highs again. Broke a downtrend. You know, I might just continue nursing some positions. Ford testing near these tops over here. We can think about just trimming 1450, maybe. Not giving up on Rig either. Rig has a nice sideways consolidation pattern going right here. Not as volatile. So my out underneath 6, risking 10 cents. Let's clear the whole chart. Somebody's been holding it over 550. Is this a hold of support? The only thing I don't like about that is you got that gap right there that we could just wick into. I do think wish could be something, but I don't like the red candle. It's just, I like for it to show me some sort of wick of buying. ACHR called out from Kramer, ACHR, and I did just get alerted on Zim. Hold on, let me go take a look at Zim real quick, and I'll take a look at that. This is a 30-minute chart. Nice green volume. 5 minutes left. Good decreasing volume right there. Testing these previous highs. You have a catalyst for a channel, so sort of 3.5% meets in with some resistance as well. That's what gave up right away right there. That's what we rejected. Claimed it. Can it hold above it? 5 minutes left on this candle. Can 55s hold? Okay, so ACHR. ACHR. Gaps up, tries to fill the gap, holds the level, tests the high, nice consolidation pattern. If you wanted to alert it, 480 is where I would put an alert. I do like the green move, has a nice volume, pullback, not a little bit of a wick, and the volume turning green. Let's look at the daily chart on this. There's your gap up, fills the gap, does it push? Oh, I must have been looking at this before. Is it on the watch list? No, it's not. But your breakout is a 525, so this is early entry for the breakout, of course. Does it reject that? Your positive breaks always understand where the longs got in, and it's probably the break of this high in the middle of this green candle. That is when we get the positive break, and look at the volume that comes in after it. So earnings, boom, boom, really not the most amount of volume. Gaps up, and here's your positive break. Boom, 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 boom. 4 candles to the upside. So the long entry, in my opinion, is already 93% in the money. That does not mean that it can't run higher, of course. But this volume right here, that is true volume. At a breakout level where if longs got in, probably the wick high of the previous day. So from a 350 break is where your long is. 355 will go 32%. So really big move. Does it need to pull back into some levels? I would mark that gap. I'm going to throw this one on a watch list, and we'll add that one in. Pretty good look on the daily chart. My goal is to try and get the early entry. Is this an early entry? This would be like a true day trade, like something I probably wouldn't want to hold into the close. I mean, that doesn't mean you can't. You could get a gap up over top of this resistance. But one thing about that resistance is it's a previous low, so 550 looks like pretty good resistance as well. Nikola, kind of the same boat, where, but Nikola, I'd say just clearing it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Nikola. See, this just gave you that positive break, and you have some levels that yeah, really not a bad look on that ticker. Wet G still following the channel to the downside. Still following that channel like a glove. Fits like a glove. So let's go take a look back at Wish. I still think this could have a chance. 30-minute chart tells you the story. A minute 50 left, closing kind of below that level. I would have expected some buying to come in right there. So I don't know about Wish. Hood taking out the day's high. Nice bull flag look. Would have never gave me a fill. We did have an alert for maybe a test down the 75s. Just never present itself. If you got the entry, you know, good job getting that entry. Good job identifying that setup right there. Following that descending channel. G-sit pulled all the ways back in. Large volume, but now we're right here at this level. Does 750 hold? I do like that wick of buying. That came in, so we wicked into that. Pretty good right there. I'd say that's the best way to mark this. Mark your previous highs. There's your body candles. That's what you wicked into. And right near a 750 level if it pulled way back in. Yeah, we're gonna watch this G-sit. Keep our eye on it. Here's all the trading day. Gaps down fills the gap. You would have thought, hey, let's break this trend line. And this is the volume that comes in following it. I would have liked this candle to be a little bit higher volume. Kind of more comparable to this because this does leave a nice wick right there. So does it take out this wick high? It's not the most clean green candle. EFA called out from Kramer. EFA called out from Kramer. ETF. ETF. So anytime looking at an ETF, one, you are getting a positive break. That's really good. So let's go use this as an example. EFA. Oops. EFA, iShares MAC. Payout ratio decent. Expense ratio on the lower side, but I would like a little bit lower expense ratio. Let's look at the holdings. Top 10 holdings, 15%. Not crazy weightings, all reasonable weightings. It has some oil names, international. How many total holdings do they have? 200 it looks like. Dividends. Dividend growth is not there, so that is a little concern. It only pays its dividend twice a year, so it did just get done paying that dividend. Payout is decent, yield is decent. Dividend growth a little concerning though. But 21, it's 22. The December quarter has a little year-over-year growth. So interesting ETF, EFA. Yeah, I'm okay with the holdings that they have. I'm okay with the. Look at Nikola. All right. Look at Nikola. We did like that sideways chop. That reminds me to go check out Rig. Rig trying to hold the level. Trying to hold the level. Holding above 06s. What was the other one we were watching? G-sit. G-sit's next candle is not even opening. Let's go take a look at that and see what's going on. We have 50 lots on 70s right now. One lot on 74s. So what happens at 70? 50 lots on 70. Good size. Buyers potentially there. Intel. Strong move. High that wick. 37s. Baba still following this descending channel. Does it hold the body of the candle? We'll see. Take a look at pins. Let's look back at Carvana real quick. Carvana trying to hold above that. Not too much more I can do with that trend line. G-sit. Okay, so those 70s gave up clearly. That is actually a short setup right there. It retraces up, fills that gap. Boom. It's actually a short setup. But it took a while for that candle to open. We don't really know how much happened in between there. Take a look back at Wish. Yeah, Wish, no buyers. There was just no buyers that came in right there. So a good stop right there at those 22s. Yeah, it was an interesting setup. Had hope, but this let's take a look at GME. Early signs of breaking that channel. Is that channel set properly? Tough to say. You still have to fight through these previous lows. What else was I looking at? I can't even remember what else I was looking at. I mean, obviously Nikola. Man, it would have been nice to just. What was the alert name? Zim. That's the one. Getting closer to those highs at 1350. Does that hold right there? Wicking into that level a little bit. So a little bit of buying. Let's take a look at the tape on Zim. Not a wide spread. There's a 1350 right at the bodies of the candles. DHT, BMR. Look at the top volume for the day. SoFi near top volume, holding down at 25. Holy buckets. Nikola taking out highs. Should have tried it. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. CVNA near top volume, trying to hold this. I mean, we can't pull this trend line any more than what we are. If it is a channel to the upside, we're looking for, that kind of meets in with these tops over there, potentially. But I'd probably mark this as well. And you still got to get through these lows. So that's our catalyst. Looking for a green engulfing candle through there. PayPal did hold 64s. Followed the descending channel we set, almost on the money. Can it hold these levels and then break out? So we'd be looking at a breakout price of 64.40, give or take. Take a look back at G-sit. Wicking into that level a little bit. The 55s. And Zim, kind of right around a level as well. Wicked into the bodies of the candles. That is these previous lows right here as well. So holding that level for now. You have the decreasing volume. Do buyers come back in though? We have 6 minutes, 30 seconds left on that candle. And here we're at 30.51s. Do the buyers come in off the bodies? Keep an eye on that. AI. G-sit. Buyers holding 60s. So those body candles meeting right in right there. Keeping G-sit on watch. We'll go back over to rig. Rig trying to hold the level. DAL. No reason to trim. Intel trying to take out the highs. Man, I can't believe I didn't try 107 break. We knew this one looked pretty good. We knew that one looked pretty good. We can look back at Invax. Trading inside the channel. G-sit really leaving that wick down into there now. Zim, now we can see the lots. Zim, 28 lots on 50s. 4 minutes left. Can we see some buying come in? Maybe we can try this one. IBM wicked into the tops. I think we can maybe get 140 gap. Wet G pulled back into, wicked into. This is just some levels that I marked out at the beginning. We marked the tops, marked the tops. Same way I'd mark the bottoms to the upside. You know, here's some bottoms. That's what the wick high on the day actually. That doesn't mean send it. Still trading in this channel. But, you know, there was some money to be made right there. BNGO kind of red engulfing through that level. G-sit candle actually turned green. Light volume, only 7K. So not a lot of follow through selling there. Zim held 1350s for a time being. COHR, a slow churn. Light. Full flag continuation setup. Rig kind of giving a frowny face. CVNA, still just a nice sideways chop. Regardless of how you would have had this, you know, that's disregarded. I mean, CVNA still, if I was looking for like a breakout, like a 23.75 could be the start of something that's just kind of over these wicks. But CVNA, not a bad setup. Looking better. Over here, it didn't look as good. But we said underneath 23 flat is going to be no bueno. Minute left on this candle. Just kind of being patient. You know, this honestly has a pretty good look. Look at that consistent increasing volume near a potential breakout. Let's look at the daily chart on this. Nice fresh positive break, one consolidation day. Tries to get to the gap. Buyers held it up pretty good. Trying to fight through these previous lows. Like a 10 break. Right at a 10 break. Gaps down, filled the gap, rejects it, rejects it. You have a gap fill. Meeting up with some highs over here. So from current price to that gap, I mean 12% for some outs. It could try. This is a pretty good setup. This lunar trade looks interesting. Not a lot of volume. Oh, there's 10-10. We could watch this breakout as we talk. We might try this, I don't know. It's trying to hold 10. Really light volume, so I mean, is it worth it? 13 minutes left. There's a lot of volume that already came into this. Could go on the bid at 10s. Put an alert on that. This could have a big move in store. Sort of a trend line, kind of a little chop action right there, but man, this one is a very good setup. Not a fan of taking breakouts. I would have liked an entry in here somewhere. Nikola pulled back in the 07s. 11 minutes left, 300K in volume on that candle. We're not 100% completely sold on it yet. Rig holding this channel. Zim holding 50s. Zim holding 50s right into the bodies. Lunar. Oh my gosh, is this thing gonna break out? I can't help it. We're gonna try it for some shares. We get an entry position. And that should have gave us at least 14s. We got 10, 11. 10, 11 fill. We're gonna try this. And let's put an order in off 10.05. 10.06. Bid is at 07s. We're trying to get 06. Didn't get the fill. We got an idea that, a 950 is possible. G-sit trying to hold. Zim holding 1350. CVNA still in the descending channel, but ascending channel. I mean, I'd say risk reward. You're probably risking about 25 cents, maybe 30 to 40 cents. Under 23, I think, is a clear out. So we should have got 10.06 filled right there. And we did. Let's see if we can go 10 flat for another order. Am I out? Risk 20 cents, give or take. See if we can get a 10 flat. We'll give it a try. I like this setup right here. Two fills. I'll be right back. I gotta take this call. Jesus, right in the middle of the trade. Sorry about that, guys. We are back. Yeah, so two fills on this lunar trade. Is it gonna pan out? I don't know. There's not really any size. Small size for me as well. We wouldn't be opposed to holding it to like a 990. Maybe try an order. We have one size on 06 here. Keeping an eye on G-sit. Just looking for a 750 hold. 755 wicked into it very nicely. That's the body of these candles. Nikola, not out of our radar yet. Wicking into the previous high, leaving a wick right there. Is this some sort of ascending channel? Maybe. Asking for a lot. I don't know yet. Is that going to put a big red engulfing candle through? Tough to say. I do like this volume. It's very close to... This is only 10K, so I mean, there's not really much volume here. So I mean, this could easily just flush against us if it doesn't have any size on the tape. So that is one thing to keep in mind. Rig. CVNA still kind of holding this light volume. Does the volume pick up when it gets over 2375? If it does it pick up when it gets under 23? I think we're right in the middle of either a breakout or to the downside. Intel tried wicking to a breakout. Ford tried getting up to 50s. Baba trying to hold. Does it start building this U shape into this level? Lunar trade. I mean, it could. It could. I just... Zim still holding 1350, but I gotta see a little early sign of increased volume, a little bit right there, but in the middle of this channel, can I see it one way or the other? I think G-sit I'm looking at more. If that starts to build a U, takes this out. From this 50s, we'll do 60s, upper 50s. You know, not bad for the top end of the channel. Still right in the middle here. Take a look at the EAF. Holding those highs. Probably a good trend line build in here. ABEV, nice slow churn. Actually breaking through that channel a little bit. PayPal still holding 64s. Is this going to build some sort of... Maybe we have it set wrong as well. Maybe it should be set something like that. So we'll adjust that and see if it can break one way or the other. Lunar, just not much volume here. Not expecting the most, but if it does, we are going to be very quick trimming. You know, if we can get that gap move, that would be gorgeous. That's what we're looking for. A lot of green volume. Let's go to the hour. 2 candles, 1 pullback. Let's look at the 30. 4 candles, 1 pullback. Does this need to reject, curl back over, come back into like 950? maybe, but if it wants to go today, that would be quite an extraordinary move. Minute left on this candle. No volume has come into this, so I think they're waiting for one way or the other. Do we come back into like 90s, or do we break out? Of course I don't have my water by me. Minute left on this candle. Light volume. Can we see that volume really pick up? Look and see how that Zim candle's panning out. BNGO. Could be something here. Huh, would you look at that? Probably just set off a little bit. Nice channel. Or not channel, nice hold. G-sit going up to that gap fill. How does it fill that gap? Lunar open of the next candle. A little bit of volume. Sitting at 9s. Probably needs to pull back into 95s, honestly. That's the gap up. Nikola candle 2 of the pullback. Is this an uptrend? We only have just those points of contact. I'd say this is probably more. Was it a channel? Maybe. Wet G inside the channel. See how just marking that channel right off the open saves you just a lot of hassle. Rig still in the channel. G sit. Decent candle. Baba trying to hold. CVNA peaking a little bit. I mean, there's not too much more I can do with this channel unless the bottom side was supposed to be like that. I don't know. That might be a stretch. We'll keep it like that for now. Light volume. Was able to take out 10s though. Did we get a 10 flat fill in that candle before? We did not. We're trying to find something for you guys. Obviously not the most volatile here. We can look back at Wish and see what that did. Yeah, just didn't have the buying there. It looked good. Just didn't have the buying. Does it need to pull back to the wick high? AI? Let's take a look at AI. Inside of that channel. Oil looks like probably giving up the ghost. Oil, yes indeed it is. Do we need to come back down to this trend line? Look over at GME. GME, trading sideways through that. Not too many more ways I can put that. GQ looking. Green candles right through that. Pretty good trend line hold. Lunar putting in a little red candle. Not much volume. Nikola really giving up the gains. Trying to wick into that top though. Maybe something there. I don't know. Nikola not really the greatest. Let's look back at G-sit. That one was trying to hold. Yeah, looking at it, I just don't know. I think I might just get out, go get some lunch, regroup, and try and trade the back half of the day. We didn't do half bad in the second live stream yesterday. We were able to get a few breakouts. I'd say everything's just kind of trading inside the channel for right now. We don't want to go with too much. Rig, can it hold 6? Wasn't able to hold these tops. Look at Zim. Zim holding a 1350. Is this something here? I don't know. Lunar, I'm trading something that has no volume on the day, just a small slight increase in volume. Does that volume justify 11%? I don't know. Nikola giving up the ghost. BNGO kind of a channel. Intel taking out the highs, so I mean we'll be able to trim some positions, hopefully. Baba has a nice U. Does this turn into a descending channel? Maybe. SoFi. Does it start coming back down in? Retest the flat top. CVNA. CVNA probably the better setups. Holding this uptrend, risk reward's pretty good right here. If it can break through this, maybe you can get a leg up through these previous lows. Invax still following this sort of channel. Trend line. Right around a 10. Who knows, maybe this turns into something like that. I like this kind of breakout level though. If it were to get up to like a 1034, that would be pretty good move up to 11. Nice look right here though. This ACHR might have something here. Risk reward pretty good. What's the 30-minute look like? Yeah, that's the resistance right at 5. So I'd have to respect 5, respect the wick tops, respect the lows, respect the lows. Pretty good look right here. Lunar fills 10. Lunar is going to give up the ghost, it looks like. We'll try 95s and 90s. See if that has anything to it. And stop's going to go in at 80s. I don't like that red candle though. I like this ACHR though. We're going to take a neckline break and try it. We're going to try and go on for a little size right here. Small piece. I like this setup right here. This was a good find. Alright, I'm gonna go get lunch quickly and we will think about doing a live stream later in the day. I like this ACHR called out by Kramer. Good find. And I think this one's probably gonna have my best trade on the day. I like this setup. Not much size, but we're gonna try and get some size and go from there. So I will be back, and appreciate anybody for tuning in. Sorry it wasn't, I hate the word sorry, but I wish we were able to find more. That's what I'll say about that. I wouldn't sleep on CVNA. That also has, a nice setup right there. We talked about this risk reward off of this trend line, potential channel, looking for a 24 break. But other than that, I will see you later in the day.